Welcome to Conversations in Care on Third Planet Network. My name is Tammy Newman, and I have a wonderful guest with me today, Belanie Dishong. She is the founder and CEO of Live It Choice and Live It Choice Media. She's also an author and motivational speaker. And I was lucky enough this past year to be a part of a book with her called Share Your Message with the World. So welcome to the show, Belanie. I'm so glad that you've been able to take some time out of your day to be with us.
Tammy, thank you. I'm thrilled to be with you. And I feel very honored that you contacted me about this. It was great sharing the book with you, and I look forward to this time together and to be with your community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And, you know, I kind of want to just jump in and dive into everything that you've kind of done in your life. And I think one of the things, as I was going through all the information about you, you talk about really working with individuals to connect them mind and soul, or heart, mind and heart, and kind of breaking through barriers to help them really achieve greatness. And I was hoping that maybe you could share some of the life challenges that you've been through that kind of got you to where you're at now.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to. Yeah, wow. Let's see. How long did you say we have? You said we have 30 minutes. We'll get one or two in. How's that?
That's perfect.
It's interesting when I look at life from the perspective of challenges, because I no longer see it that way. And I'm starting with that particular response because, Tammy, what I want you to know is that on this side of emotional prosperity, we really see things very, very differently from being really challenged. It's difficult. On the other side, where we're talking now about some of the things that I've overcome or passed through or walked through in my life, I think one of probably the biggest is 1985, and I think it's in the book, so you probably know a little bit about that story. But yeah, 1985, laying face down in a very cold bathroom floor. And to realize that my attempt to take my own life didn't work. And some people might say, well, yay, and yay is accurate on the transition and the transformation that came from that. But what in the moment was there for me was not only the things that I thought I needed to, I needed to escape, or I just couldn't tolerate my life anymore, that breaking point that a person gets to when they make such a choice, that stuff was still there. That was my first awakening moment. The second thing that came behind it was not only was I faced with the same stuff, I was faced with now having to deal with that didn't work. And be able to hold face and save face and be with people, family, friends, children. I was a mother of 3. You know, I didn't know Mr. Wonderful was going to leave. And it appeared, and I think this is what's really, really important here, Tammy, is that it appeared that was the problem. Circumstantially, it appeared that was the problem for me. I thought I was with the prince of all princes. And by the way, this is not about him. This is all about me. And that's where I thought I was. And when that didn't work out, and I had to face that I had multiple marriages that had failed, and like, really look at that. There's just a moment, I can't even remember what went on in my mind in the moment that I made the choice to do what I did. However, the turning point also for my life and the people that I get to be with took place in that same bathroom floor. And the voice that I heard, the words that I heard were, you are the common denominator in everything in your life. And I heard it like, wow, what? You know, it was like, what? Wait a minute, what? And it was
a second.
Hold on a minute here. Can't you just see what happened to me? But the truth was, that was the first time ever. I was 35 years old. Now I'm really telling my age. I'll be 65 in January.
You look
It's okay.
beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I enjoy that when I hear that back. So, and when I'm 100, I'll get the same response, I'm sure.
Yes,
But
you
anyway,
will.
yeah.
So
So,
how did you work through that? Because, you know, I think the initial response for me is, yay, that didn't, you didn't pass away from that, what you tried to do. But you're right. On the other side of that, it had to be at first challenging to think, oh my goodness, now I'm going to have to face everybody. I have to now also face myself.
yeah.
So how did you kind of walk through that?
Well, the message that I got, that I was the common denominator, was the blessing that I got. We'll start with that. It was the blessing, because it was the first time in my life I ever looked inward, that maybe I had something to do with the way my life was showing up. And I'm not talking about blame or fault. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's in my life. Everything that's in my life is in my life. That's what it is there. And so therefore, I had something to do with it being in my life. And I always lived life just coming at me like freight trains. I just woke up in the morning and handled what had to be handled. And then go back to bed at night, wake up in the morning, and handled. And I was highly successful in my business. I was in the mortgage business. I made more money imaginable for most people. And yet, the package looked good, but I was sitting on the edge of such a dramatic and drastic choice to be made, and never realized it until it was on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And so, moving forward, it was a lot. It was a lot to put the pieces together emotionally, and I don't mean because I was emotionally cracked up or sick. I'm going to tell you something. I went as functional in my world afterwards as anybody else would, just as if it had never happened. But I approached life with a brand new, I want to say perspective, but the opening of that perspective was absolutely nothing more than an inquiry. It was like, wow, how is it that I impact my life then? How is it that if I'm the common denominator and it's in my life, how do I? And so there was this, not like, show me. I did not come out of it the way I went in it. The way I went into that moment was, why me? What is it going to take? Why all the failed marriages? Why can't I get it right? Why did he leave me? All that bitter, challenging stuff was not how I came out of it. I came out of it with the awe and the aha, new possibility. And I know I was filled with it. I just know I was filled with it, because I am not that person, and not like there was anything wrong with that person. I'm not that person. That part of me did stay on the bathroom floor. We'll put it that way. That part of the way I saw life ended. And the way that I see life today was born. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense. I think that's an interesting take on your situation, and I think it gives, if I look at my life, single parent. I was married for 7 years, divorced for longer than I've ever been married. And there's been many times that exactly what you said. I get up and I do what I've got to do that day, and then I go back to sleep. I get up again and I do the same thing. And the description that you gave of like a freight train just kind of coming at you, that's, to me, it resonates tremendously with, what I know that I have gone through in my life, and I know that many people have gone through something similar. And we were talking prior to starting this hangout and how your perspective is, and you have this nice little circle that you kind of work through on a day-to-day basis. And I was hoping maybe you could share that with us.
Yeah, all I have to do is remember exactly what I said to you. So my life today, and by the way, I want to be really clear about this. I wake up with things that I have to get done, right? And I wake up with, in fact, give you an example. I was sharing with my coaches. I have a team of coaches that are in my company, and I've trained them to do the work that I've delivered for all these years. So I'm on the phone with them yesterday, and something had occurred, and it was something that was upsetting, and it wasn't with them. I was sharing with them. But what I did is I saw that I was in the upset at the moment, and then I was able to take the next step anyway, instead of being trapped in the next moment or trapped in the upset. I was able to, in our terms, we say put it on the hook, kind of put the upset on the hook and take the next step. And as I walked through that entire day when this had occurred, what occurred was I saw why that occurred, and it was perfect because one of the things that I am is I am a wealth builder. That's who I am. That's how I see myself, rather than someone who makes a lot of money and doesn't build wealth. I'm a wealth builder, and in my own life and in my business. And I saw a way to impact that totally different that I would never have. Probability is very strong. I would have never have seen it, and certainly not seen it at this conjuncture, had I not had the upset. So the way I go through life, and the way I teach people to go through life, is to, and it's not just look back and see. It's not just called look back and see the, what do we call it, the lemonade or whatever. It's really being able to see it in the moment, to be able to catch it in the moment, set it on the hook. And my team was saying, oh my gosh, you went right back to your vision. You went right back to the vision, and you were able to it was remarkable what occurred. And I said, yes, and don't get confused. I spent at least a good hour in an upset. But here's the difference, Tammy. I didn't spend 6 weeks in an upset. I didn't spend 2 days. And so for every minute that stuff continues is a minute of lost quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
You with me? Lost quality of life.
So
there's challenges. Everybody's life's got them. Either that, or you're probably not very alive, right? There's stuff.
You're exactly right. There's, every day there are challenges, and I think one of the things that I'm learning as I age is how to work through them a little bit quicker, or face that challenge and that fear and just keep going with it, I guess, is it's not a great analogy, but kind of on the concept. So how did you learn to take going through upset for 6 weeks to going through upset for an hour?
So there's a part of us that's kind of, I say, hidden from our view. There's a part of us that's running the pity committee.
I love it.
I was doing a workshop. I work with the deaf community as well as the hearing community, and I was doing a workshop in Austin back. I live in Texas, so I was doing a workshop in Austin back about 1.5 years ago, something like that. And one of the participants, one of the attendees in this workshop, called it the S committee. It sounds a lot like pity, right? And I said, well, I don't know if I'll say that. Not that I haven't ever, and I'm certainly not. But I don't know that I can stand on my stage and say that. But I can say pity committee, and but I think most of the time people like to hear the S one, right?
Right.
So it's all about recognizing two things. One, that you have it, and why you have it. That's something that we teach you, is not only to recognize that you have it, but why you have it. And you have it because of things that are hidden from your view. And those things that are hidden from your view, meaning they're not accessible on a day-to-day basis until you learn how to discover them. And I call it the DEW process, D-E-W, in my it's kind of a trademark thing with me. Is discover what you can't see, embrace what you are resisting, which is what you can't see, and be willing. DEW, the due process. Be willing and give it permission to have an existence that you gave it. And you've been spending your whole life resisting that happening, resisting that what you made up is there, right? So one of the things I made up, for instance, that really serves me well is I made up that I was really good. I'm really, really good with people. And I made that up. And I made that up when I was 5 years old. I remember the moment. I held off 2 fighting brothers who fought all the time. I was 5, one was 10, the other's 15. They fought all the time, my older brothers. And I'm standing between them going, don't say that. That's not what he meant. That's not what he meant. He didn't say it that way. My hands on them, right, this little bitty girl. And they walked off not fighting, and I decided, wow, I am really, really good with people. And I've created a life around that. But then there are these other things that we've made up that we really don't hear. We hear in the committee, we hear things that might fit in the same bucket. Like you threw it all in the sack, shook it up, threw it on the table. Nobody could be able to tell the difference.
Right.
Right? And so in this inquiry process, to answer the question you gave me, the inquiry process, of which now I've learned to even have a much richer, just incredibly rich inquiry process. And I'll give you that quote if you want to hear it.
I do.
So it's revealed to me. It's normally and I'll finish it out in a second, but normally in an inquiry we go why or what or what's the answer? How do I get to the answer? Right? Especially if it's like personal stuff, like why is this happening to me? What do I have to do? When is it going to change? How am I going to get out of it? That's not an inquiry. That's looking for the answer out there, and it's generally a failed recipe. However, what does work is reveal to me that which I have not yet seen, that I may have insight for breakthrough, transformation, and live in a new state of awareness. And when you get those insights, the stuff that's hidden from our view, when you do that through the inquiry process, that's honoring that we've been put in us what is available, what we want to see, what we need to see. So the difference between being strung out at an upset or being so reactionary, fear and anger and guilt, resentment, I'm probably beating on a few people here with this, we all have lived there. Judgments, right. That's all reactionary behavior. So instead of living in that, that's reaction. We can live in response by just responding with, reveal to me that which I have not yet seen. Give me the insights. They're here. Give me the insight, and it's honoring that it will be there. It goes from anything from losing my keys. The old saying is, if you have the same place to put something every single solitary time, well, I do. I have a place to put my keys every time, and that's in a purse. But I don't remember which one I used last, right? It would be the same problem if we put them in our shoes. It's like, I put them in the same place. I put them in a purse, but what bag was that, right? So.
Belanie, I truly wish we had a lot more time to really talk. But before we end, I really want you to speak about this event that you are having at the end of the month, because I think it's spectacular. It's a 3-day event, and just what we talked about a little bit prior to being on the show, it sounds like a remarkable event that you're putting on. So I was hoping that you can kind of share with us what people could actually see or experience in those 3 days.
Awesome. I'm really excited about it. I do workshops all over the United States, Canada, and I have for 21 years. and just to say this really, really quickly, is the reason I do what I do, because I spent 27 years in the mortgage business, the reason I do what I do is because I was asked to teach people to do in their lives what I had done in my own. And so that's how it got started 21 years ago, that I even do what I do. And so this is a different animal that I'm doing at the end of the month, meaning it's not one of my workshops, but it's a fabulous event called Living Your Amazing Life. You know, we sell out to good and great. I'm talking amazing. Like, where does amazing come in? And the difference between a great life and an amazing life is the experience that we have through the journey of our lives. And so in the event, day one, we're going to work on a conversation called Imagine Amazing. Sometimes people can't even imagine it. And the truth of the matter is there's absolutely nothing that has ever been created, done, made, experienced, lived that wasn't first imagined. And so I'm going to teach people in that first day how to really get into the depth of imagining and being present. You know, the mind doesn't know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. It does not, it cannot sort out the difference. It will respond. There's lots of science behind that. And day two is then we're going to go into create. So we've imagined it. Now, how do we create it? Right? So I'm going to teach you how to create that amazingness. We're talking relationships of all form, all type, career, money, your wealth, your well-being, your health. All these pieces will be in there. And then day three, we're going to put the process together called going and living it. So that's what's going to occur in that 3 days. And you can find out more information about it, Tammy, at www.livingyouramazinglife.com. And I'll repeat that.
Thank you.
Yeah. livingyouramazinglife.com.
Wonderful. And then if people have, because I know you've written books, you have other workshops, you speak all around the country, so if people want to find out more about those things, if they're not able to make it to Texas at the end of the month, where can they go to find out that information as well?
So that would be at my website, which I think is here on the screen, www.liveatchoice.com. Go, wait a minute, I've got too many lives here.
There you go.
Then I picked myself up off the bathroom floor, right?
Right.
Well, it's called Live, right? So it's interesting, Tammy, I never really saw that until just now, so I was in the engagement with you in the moment. But anyway, it's liveatchoice.com. And if you just go up to the courses, you'll see everything listed there. My platform workshop, the foundation workshop of everything we do, is called Beyond Circumstances. And if you go to beyondcircumstances.com or just go to the website and click on that, it'll take you right to the page that gives you all the information of what we have scheduled when. And we have one in December in Orlando and one in New York in February. And there'll be a whole lot more posted, but right now that's what we've got posted at. liveatchoice.com is where to find everything we have going on.
Belanie, thank you so much for taking time with us today. And what I'm going to do is on my Facebook page, I will make sure to put both livingyouramazinglife.com up on my Facebook page so people can get to that. And I will also put your website as well so that people can get to your information. And you know what? This has been an amazing time with you because you really spoke to me, at least, and I think you spoke in a way that I can really hear you. And I really appreciate that you were able to do that for me today. So I want to thank you so much for spending time with us.
You're welcome. And in the close, what I want to say to you and what I want to say to others, I do not discount the things that we all have had to come through in our life and the things that may even be brought before us yet to come at all. But what's important is that you can learn how to choose your experience of what's taking place. It's been a pleasure being with you guys. And I'm serious. See you in Houston, right?
That sounds good. Thank you so much, Belanie. And I'm going to end on that note because it was a beautiful note to end on. Thank you for everybody joining us.
You bet. Bye now.